Alright, so some of you know, I loaded the Camaro up yesterday on the trailer, and I hauled it down to Bay City and brought this back. This is a 1962 Bonneville two-door hardtop. And when I first got there, I looked at the car. I mean, the pictures made the car look amazing. But when I first got there and started walking up to the car, I could see on the body lines here, it looked like there was quite a bit of bondo on here. And I wasn't too concerned about the front fenders because this is pretty much all bondo right here, but there's a big fiberglass piece that goes in here, and these usually rust out here anyway, so I expected some rust there. But on the door, you can see there's like bondo there. There's bondo on the rockers. And I thought, wow, the car is probably pretty rotten then. So when I got to looking at it closer, I could see, yeah, there's some rust right here on the rocker. You know, that's rusted right here. But for the most part, it felt pretty solid. So I'm not sure what the deal is with all that bondo on there. And the same here. There's a lot of bondo on here. But it doesn't feel bad right here. When I feel back here, I can feel the metal. And it all feels solid, but it feels like there's a dent there. So what I think happened is there was some dents and dings on here, and it was just smeared over with bondo to try to take out some of the dents. And same here, if I open up the trunk, I can get my hand all the way down to here, and I can feel and see, you know, solid metal in here. But if I feel back here, I don't know if you guys can see in here, that's solid bondo, but it's metal on the outside. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that either. So there's a lot of weird issues with bondo on this car. And the other side's the same way. You know, and on the door, I can feel, you know, I can get my hand, this is bungeed shut because it's missing the latch there. But on this door, you know, you can see there's a lot of bondo on the door. But when you get your hand in there, there's no, I mean, it's all solid metal. There's no rust, not even on the bottom of the door. So I'm not sure what the deal is with all this bondo. I'm going to have to start picking away at it, you know, and see what's going on there. I know the one door, I'm not sure if it's this door or the driver's door, does have a hole that's in it. You can feel the metal bending, like something had hit it and punctured the door, and that was just covered up with bondo too. So there's definitely more bondo on this car than it needed. I need a screwdriver to open up the trunk here because that latch is missing. You can see the chrome has got, you know, some pitting on it, so I'll probably end up replacing that chrome on there at some point. This bumper is kind of tweaked, and there's some rust on this bumper there. Not too concerned about that though. But if you look underneath here, this is rusted here. You know, where the strap that holds the gas tank up is. I'm not sure how it is on the front, but I know the floor pan or the trunk pan in here does have some patchwork in it. But overall, it's more solid than, you know, than most of the trunk pans in these old cars, because that's usually the first thing to rust out on them. But looking at the frame, you know, I crawled all underneath here and I checked out the whole frame. And aside from, you know, having a little bend in it right here on the bottom, the frame for the most part is in excellent shape on here, as are most of the floors. To come down this side here, you can see the same thing, you know, a lot of bondo where it doesn't really seem to need it. And when they put the primer on, of course, they oversprayed the crap out of everything. But, you know, I think the rockers do need a little bit of work. I don't think they need, you know, all this bondo, though. And here's the doors. I do have the door panels, the original door panels for it. They were taken off. But if you look down on the doors, I mean, they're not rusted. So I'm not sure. I mean, you can still see all the original rust proofing in there. So I'm not sure why all the bondo on the outside of the doors. I mean, they don't look too dented or feel too dented from here either, but once I grind all that bondo off, we'll find out. There's the VIN tag. And you can see this right here is the insulation that they put in these fenders, and they just soak up water and usually just rot these fenders away. And honestly, though, looking at this fender here, I mean, it doesn't even seem or feel rotted. And this is the part where they usually rot out, right there. Looks like they need, wiring work, but it'll probably get all new wiring harness. I do want to get this cover off, because from what I could see from looking at it, this plastic part, this lucite part, looks like it's in excellent shape on here. And usually these are cracked. They got chunks missing out of them a lot, and this one seems to be in really good shape, so I'm kind of curious to get this off of here and see what's up. This thing says 53,000 miles on it, and from looking at the car and everything, it doesn't, I would think that that's probably original miles. The only rot that I found on the floor from looking underneath is this section right here, which looks like it had come from a leak because it rotted the carpet and everything. But there is, where is it? Right there. You can see there's a hole there, and I think that's the only rot on this whole floor. I don't know more once I get the interior gutted, but from looking underneath, that was the only rot that I found on the floor. So the floor is solid too. It's got the tricolor green and white seats. This car was originally white, though, believe it or not, despite the steering column and the metal on the dash being, whatever color that is. The exterior of the car was white, as you can see, looking back into the hinges and the inner door. Here's a view of the back seat. The front seat's got, everything needs to be reupholstered. The backs look decent on them, and the back seat looks decent. Big back seat in here. There's the chrome trim around the speaker, the rear armrest, and it's got the big package tray back there. Headliner definitely needs to be redone. Needs a mirror for the rearview mirror. But yeah, it's got a lot of stuff in here I got to figure out. I don't know if this is what this here is for. I don't know what that little light's for. That's the headlight switch. Oh, it's even got, your high beam switch on the floor. And this, I believe this would have mounted up here somewhere under the dash. And this was actually for your washers, your windshield washer squirter. And you can see, looking over there, it's funny, you can see there's the vents. You pull the little handle and you open up these vents to get fresh air in the car, and it's packed full of leaves. So, there's a lot of work here. But overall, I love this car. I love the style of it. These back windows here crank down. You can see the crank back there. They'll crank down. It's got factory 8-lug wheels on it. And it's funny, it still has, it's got 3 bias plies and 1 snow tire on it. But it has all the caps and all the trim rings. This trim ring looks a little beat up. You can see around there, but all the other ones look good. This is cool. Air Force Satellite Test Center. And this sticker is from 1970. So it's got these these awesome Pontiac headlights with the, I don't know what you would call that on there, but with chrome. That's all cool. This piece right here, this header piece, looks good here, but when you get over here, you can see that'll need to be replaced. That's got some rust on it. I believe that I've got the chrome trim for that too. All the trim for this was taken off this car, and I have it all in the trunk. This part right here looks good. These are all in good shape, except right there, you can see it's a little bit bent, but I don't think I want to worry about that too much. So under the hood here, check out that hood. Oh man, you gotta be He-Man to open this. Alright, here's under the hood. Mice have been living in the radiator. There's a windshield washer jug. Battery tray, I have that in the trunk, and believe it or not, that's not rusted either. Core support looks good in here. And that's a 389. This is got power brakes, power steering, the original generator on it. No AC. Factory 4-barrel. 4-barrel intake. Now, I don't know when the last time this thing was started. I don't think it's been run forever. And I'm not sure why. I mean, I was looking at it, and I can see here the valve cover bolts are gone. The valve cover's off. There's rocker arms missing. There's also a bunch of push rods in a box. And I don't know if they were replaced or what the deal is. So I'm going to have to really go over this motor well. I mean, it doesn't look like it's, you can see there's a screw laying in here. It doesn't look like it's been ran in a very, very long time. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with this motor. I don't even know if it cranks over or not. So when I get some time, I'll have to go over that, see if I can just at least get it to fire up and see why would they have pulled this valve cover off. But that's minor. I'm not too concerned about the motor because it's going to end up coming out for rebuild anyways. And there's even the hoses. The hoses are in the trunk. The cap that went there is in the trunk. There's all kinds of parts in the trunk. Didn't bring a screwdriver out to open it, but anyways, that's a quick overview of the car. Here's the bottom of the hood. It's just like surface rust on there, so that can all be cleaned up and repainted. And you see on the firewall there was original color. The car was white, so it's not going back white. It's going to end up being a different color. And the hood slams with a nice thud. But anyways, that's the overview of the car. Here's the other 8-lug wheel. You guys don't know about these 8-lug wheels. This right here is actually a finned aluminum brake drum, and it's all aluminum, but it's got a steel liner in it for the brake shoes. And then you take off these lug nuts, and just this outer wheel comes off here. And these are real desirable wheels. I mean, I didn't think I'd be able to find a Pontiac that actually had 8 lugs on them. And you could actually have taken a regular, from what I understand, you can take a car with the regular steel wheels on it, and you can convert it over to these 8 lugs, and a lot of them were taken up for that. But these are going to get all restored, and I'm going to just keep them on there, even though it's drum brakes. These 8-lug wheels look awesome on there, so I'm going to keep these on there. And you see the inner fender well. Actually, it looks good. There's no rust on it. I mean, I do expect a car this age to have some rust on it, and like I said, it does look like it's got some. But 90% of the floors are solid in it, and I believe probably 90% of the body is. I think it's probably going to be more pulling some dents and doing little patches on it than having to replace whole panels. I do want to get into this fender too and see if this one's rotted. Just from looking at the one on the driver's side, it didn't look rotted. But if I do get this fired up, it's going to be loud because you can see the exhaust is just cut off right there. But I don't know. Let me see if I can show you the floor in here. Here's the rest of the floor. I mean, it looks rusty, but I believe that's all just surface rust on there. And floor pans are available for this, so if I do need floor pans, I can get them. But I don't think I'm going to need them except for over there on the driver's side. Everything else underneath here looks solid. I can get a whole new trunk pan for it as well, so I'm not too worried about that. I think overall the car is solid enough and straight enough to where in the end this is going to be a nice little project. So I just want to give you guys an overview of this and show you guys this a little bit better. I do have all the stainless trim that goes on here. There's a Bonneville emblem here, and there's a stainless trim piece that goes here, one here, and then there's a wider top metal one that goes from here all the way back. That's got grooves in it. I have all that trim. There's chrome trim that goes on top of the quarter there. I've got all that. I've even got the antenna. Got the wipers. It's got nice chrome wipers on it. I do have to replace the windshield, so all this stainless will come off here, and all new seals. We get new seals for it. I love this chrome A-pillar and the vent windows. It's just an awesome car. I'm looking forward to getting this done. It's going to take a while, but I don't even care. And I'm going to have fun with this one. So I'll keep you guys updated.